go into Figma and log in for me, that would be great, because we're just gonna practice using Figma. Like, it's okay if you're not gonna use it, but just so you kind of know like how to make a wireframe in general. So we're just gonna practice that today. And then once you're in there, open up a new file. And then just like look up if you're done. So I like, okay, perfect. Okay, so when you're making your wireframe, you can either like start out with like, I know in material design, if you scroll to the bottom, there's like utilities over here. I can show that to you, where you can just use like an actual phone or something like that. And you can like actually like make it look like each like phone screen. So that's one option, but for now we're just gonna start out with like a little rectangle. So at the bottom, you can choose rectangle and then like just draw out, like kind of in the phone shape, I guess. Like, well, it's not a very good phone, but like that. And then once you've made that screen, go to under pages, you have page 1, label that image gallery, because I'm gonna go through this one with you guys, and then you guys can practice making another one on your own. And then just look up once you've labeled your page, and then have the base. And like raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, so then we're gonna add in an icon. So you can go to assets, and under assets you can see that there's avatars right here, but you can always just like go and type one in. It doesn't have to be like from the same spot. So right here you have, there's avatar, so if you guys can get to that, which is under assets and then material redesign. And then you can drag and drop it, or click on it and then insert, whichever you find easier. So I'm just gonna drag and drop that there and then make that bigger. And then just to make it look a little nicer and kind of like squared on this side, over like here, like if you're clicked on it, you can like change the width and height. So like you can like make it look nice. So I'm gonna put 200 and 200, so it's like even number. And then you have like, I guess, a perfect circle there. So it'll just like look a bit nicer, because you always want to make your app look nice. So once you guys have this done, like look up so then I can make sure about that you guys are good to go. Because then we're gonna work on grouping them so that these don't keep moving around as we keep adding things to our wireframe. So once you guys are good, then take your mouse and then like drag over both of them, and then you can right click on that to make a group selection. So if you group it together on the side over here, you'll see it says group 1, and then it'll have the icon that we put in and the rectangle, and then you can keep it as group 1, or you can label that. I'm gonna label it as the base, because that's just like kind of the start to the overall like screen. It's right here. label it like based on your own preferences, like when you're making your app, like the different screens, like your login screen, or if you have a login, like a login screen, a home screen, things like that. But this is just the base because you can always copy and paste this into like each of your pages. So like in your pages, you could like label those screens differently. So then we're gonna go on to adding in our images. So if you were to just type in images in Material 3 Design, I actually could not really find anything. So you can just like go into like the overall assets and then just type in image. And then you'll get an image right there that you can drag over, or then again click on and insert. And then just make that a bit bigger to put over here. And then again, there's the little width and height thing so that you can make it look a little prettier. So I'm gonna put them as 200 and 200. Actually, I'm gonna change it to 150. Okay, so if you have your image on the screen, can you like look up or give me a thumbs up just so I know you guys are ready to move on? Thank you. Okay, perfect. So, then from here, you're gonna take this and you're gonna just copy and paste it, or you can insert each one individually, but since like we resized it and kind of want all our images to stay the same, you'd wanna copy and paste it. And then on the side here, you can see that it goes like right under that. So you want to be careful of making sure that it doesn't go inside the other image, because I know when I was copying and pasting, sometimes the image would go inside the other one. And right now they're just on top of each other, so if you just drag it over, you'll see the other one there. And then do that so you have 3 in a row. And just make sure that they're all like separate and not inside of each other. Then from here, as you're like aligning them, make sure they kind of at least look nice, because I know it can be hard to like make them meet, but you can see that there's like 51 and 51, which shows that like the space between them is even. So then you can like keep everything even, because from here we're gonna group all these 3. So once you have your 3 images, let me know so then you guys, so we can move on to the next part. Because it's not too bad. It's pretty easy from here because you have your 3 images. Now it's all just a bunch of grouping, copy and pasting. So then over here you're gonna lock your base, which I don't know if you necessarily need to, but for me it's easier because like a lot of times your base will just keep sliding around. And then that really annoyed me. So if you lock it, then you can't move it at all. But you can still move this because it's not actually inside of that grouping. And from here, we can click on all 3 and then group this as a row of images. So right here, I have group 1. And if I open that up, you can see all 3 images, and we can label that as row of images. And so since we have 1 row, instead of making each of these separately, we can just copy and paste that again. And then just start aligning that. And then, okay, so same, like I said before, I'd say be careful when you're copy and pasting, because a lot of times it'll go right under. Like the first time I copy and pasted it, it didn't go under, but this one, it went under the group that I already made. So just take that and like, take it out of the file. It's kind of like your own like file, like in your files. If you have to take a folder out of like a folder inside, you just drag it out. So just kind of like drag it out of that to make sure they're not inside of each other, because they are separate. And then from here, depending on your preferences, or yeah, actually from here, you wanna make sure that they all are even in between the rows now, because between the images they're even, but you also wanna make sure the rows are also pretty even. So like here you can see the 67, 67, 67. So yeah, when you're like actually coding, you can use constraints to like make everything look, have the same numbers and everything. And then you can make this a group or not make it a group, because that's kind of like your personal preference at this point. But I'm just gonna make it a group so that I have all the images as one. It's just easier because then they can move around together. And then if you guys can look up, once you're done, we're just gonna add one more thing and then I'll let you guys practice. Okay, so then you're gonna go into your assets one more time and we're gonna add in a couple buttons. So you can just type in button and then you'll find like different kinds of buttons. I'm gonna go with this one that's purple because one is in material 3 design, so it kind of stays with our theme and it's purple. You can change your colors like off to the side where I can show you that, but like it was also in the same spot where you like choose your width and your height and everything. Let's see. And then once you drag that over, you can go onto the side and click on like the label under button. And then you can go over to typography and then just choose how big you want it and then like make it bigger or smaller depending on how big you need it to be. And then if you click on it, you can just type in exactly like what you want it to say. Or at least you could. Maybe not anymore. It's not thinking. Well, if that doesn't work, you can always take a little text box and add that in if things aren't on your side when creating this. So those are, that's another option. So you can always center it like that, and then since it's like a little, it's just another text box, you can just group them together if you want to keep it exactly the same. So,
I think your text got under the purple button. I think that's why you can't see it.
The text is under it?
On the button, I think that's why you're not seeing it. Oh. Okay.
I have no idea where it went. Okay, so then you can just group these together, so then you can duplicate this. So also on the side, you can always group things. You don't actually, that wasn't right. And then you can copy and paste that grouping over to the side. And then we can add in a little save button. And then from here we have like a basic little screen. So if you guys are up to this point, that would be good. Does anyone need any help? So click on it and go to the side. And then over here it says typography. And then from here you can like decide on how big you want your font to be. You just kind of can mess around with them to see which one fits. Were you able to find it?